Welcome back to Belfast with the final 8 in this year's UK's Strongest Man competition. Let's meet one of the front runners and last year's champion, Terry Hollands.
I'm Terry Hollands, 27, from Dartford in England. My training routine basically consists of 4 days in the gym, 4 evenings, normally 2 hours a day. And then on weekends I do probably 5 hours on a Saturday, 5 hours on a Sunday. No, I'm not too strict with my diet. As long as I'm getting enough protein and carbohydrates and stuff, that's good enough for me. The strongest event is probably the farmer's walk. Any sort of grip type thing, normally pretty good at. My worst event would definitely be the squat.
And so to the back-to-back tug-of-war in the final between the 2004 UK champion and the 2005 champion. It's Terry Hollands versus Glenn Ross. Sometimes it's man against weights. This time, it's mano a mano.
This one makes the event an excellent event. 2 men, 2 big men going for the win to try and pull each other over the line.
Yep, you're not trying to pull a tractor, lift anything, carry anything, drag anything. You're just trying to beat your opponent in the back-to-back tug-of-war. And there is no movement there whatsoever at the moment.
No, Glenn is just doing what he does best, just hanging on there, using his body weight. You can see he's inching and inching, just bit by bit.
I'm surprised Glenn's not moving his feet at all. He's just hanging there, as you say, trying to break Terry's resolve. I thought you'd try and move your feet just to edge it a little bit.
The problem with this event now, you've got 2 big guys, one little mistake and you've lost, so they're just hanging on. Glenn's using his weight.
Technique-wise, Glenn has his feet planted. Terry's on his toes.
Yeah, and there goes Glenn now, just moving slightly. He just moves to the lead, I would think.
Well, again, you can see the angle now then. Terry trying to make a move there. And Glenn just leaning and leaning.
Yeah, they're coming to the end now of their endurance. You can see them struggling.
Well, a great competition.
Glenn just got it, I think, by a whisker. Using that excess body weight, it overcame Terry.
It's interesting technique from Glenn there, wasn't there? He wasn't trying to blow Terry away. He just hung there as if to say to Terry, "White, you give it your best shot and see if you can move me." And basically, Hollands couldn't. Little shake of the head there, as if to say, yeah, there you go, couldn't move him. Simple technique from Glenn Ross.
It must have been close. Good on, Glenn. Never moved. I thought it was a draw myself. Because I didn't move a step and you didn't. I would have classed that as a draw. Terry, he didn't beat you. Simple as that. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Well done, mate.
Well, both fellas seem to think it was a draw, but Glenn Ross has been given the win.
Yeah, as you can see, the referee's using the sword. That gives the centre line, and then it's either movement, either side. As you can see, Glenn just goes over just slightly to the movement to the right, and that will give him the win. The greater body weight won it in the end.
Oh boy, what a battle. Tremendous performance from both fellas. A little bit of controversy, but a good spirit between the 2 guys.
Well, I'll be totally honest with you. Look the size of that as an high tar, and I totally, absolutely, my knickers the whole time. You know, I was so scared to even move a step, because to move a step, you would have given in, you know, because to move somebody that big is just phenomenal. So I just leant forward and just kept driving and driving as hard to the ground as possible, and used my bicep strength just to get that couple of inches. But in terms of moving steps, I thought it was very equal, and you know, it was a draw in my book, but the referee's decision was final. I must have just eased forward 4 or 5 inches on the drive and got it in the last. So that's the way it is.
Terry, it looked like a close run thing. How did you see it?
Yeah, it was pretty close. I mean, obviously, I couldn't see the line from behind me, but I didn't think I took a step, but it must have been a really tight thing. I mean,
just every time I tried to move my feet, just nothing there at all. I just couldn't, literally just couldn't move him. Real stalemate.
Going into the last event, the Stones, what are you looking for?
Hopefully first place in the Stones, obviously. Yeah, I've got a good chance of winning the Stones, so hopefully I'll do that.
And for you, Glenn?
Well, since I've hurt my leg 12 months ago, I haven't put the 160 on yet, but I almost done it in training, so if you're going to do it, you do it in the final. Glenn Ross, 35, from County Down. I've won 5 UK and British titles, and the greatest achievement was winning the Europe's Strongest Man 2004 and finished 3rd in the Hollands Classic. My other interest is cake decorating. I do it as a hobby. I specialise in sugar flowers, pastelage and chocolate work. I have a rock, my family behind me, and the determination to achieve, to create the ultimate strength challenge, the biggest straw on the planet, and that's the UK Strongest Man.
And so to the event that really defines strongman, the Atlas Stones. 5 barrels, 5 stones. They get heavier the further up those barrels that you go. And first up, Dave Mear and Simon Flint. It's a race against the clock. It's a race against your opponent. And it's the fastest time to put those 5 stones on those barrels. And it's another heartbreaking event, Gary, because it starts off okay. You think, yeah, I can do this. And then you go to the next stone and it's, hang on, that's a bit heavy.
Yeah, these stones get heavier each and every time. But not just that, the lads have been competing now for 3 days. They're all worn out, they're tired. They're at the end of their endurance. So it's a very, very hard event.
And they all know that they've got to conquer the stones before this thing is over as well. So, to the 5th stone. Can one of these 2 fellas complete the course? This is the bit that really hurts. You've seen strongman events won and lost on this 5th stone.
Yeah, these are the manhood stones. This stone weighs 160 kilos. That's 350 pounds. Huge stone.
Well, you can hear the referee saying there's plenty of time, but Dave and Simon, I don't think if you gave them all week that they could get this job done.
No, on a good day, Simon would do this. I don't think he's going to get it done today. He's tired.
Yeah. A grueling 3 days for these 2 fellas. So up next, Dale Norris. What a breath of fresh air he's been to UK Strongman. And he's up against Jimmy Marku. Quite a tattoo old Dale's had there, isn't it? But, Marku looking cool and confident and relaxed. He's had a good competition.
He's really surprised me. He's a newcomer to the UK strength scene, but he's going to be a man to beat in the future, definitely.
Well, just about ready for this last event. It really is the strongman equivalent of the 1500-metre race at the end of the decathlon in the Olympics. You've put everything into the other events. Now you've got to find a little bit extra. And it's a cruel heartbreaker of an event. It really is. The stones just get heavier and heavier. Jimmy up and running, making short work of the first one. So too is Dale. Dale's struggling, though. Dale's in trouble.
Dale, not known as a stone lifter. He's struggling with a 120-kilo stone there. That's quite poor. But Jimmy flies on.
Jimmy's got 3, but he struggled on that 3rd one. Dale's done well to get 2. It'll be a big surprise if he can nail this 3rd stone. And Jimmy's slowed right down, putting everything into this 4th stone. Can Marku get that stone up? How much does this one weigh?
That's 140 kilos, just over the 300-pound mark.
300 pounds of granite, and it looks like it's going to defeat Jimmy Marku. Well, Dale and his grip. I think I've had enough of this competition. Yeah, he's walking away. Overall, though, a very impressive performance from the Welshman and an impressive performance from Jimmy Marku as well. These 2 fellas have really contributed a lot to this event.
Definitely. 2 good contenders, both doing well. But this one separates the men from the boys, as you can see. Very difficult event for Dale.
There's a time to walk away. And that time was then for Dale. And Jimmy, I think, in the corner of his eye saw Dale leave and said, you know what, that's enough for me. So now the head-to-head final. Glen Ross and Terry Hollands, great competitors, good mates, an awful lot of respect for each other, these two. The pressure off, really, for Glen. As after the tug-of-war, Glen knew, and Terry certainly knew, that this year's UK Strongest Man competition was pretty much in the record books, but there's a lot of pride on the line, and wouldn't Terry Hollands love to sign off with a win on the Atlas Stones over Glen Ross?
Yeah, Terry wants to show the world how good he is here now. He's a very tall man, so the stones should flow.
Well, let's see. Ross, a slow start. Terry, as you say, he's on the third already, and he's making very short work of this. And Glen, I think, is just working in his own little zone, because he can't beat this man in a race. And Glen, psychologically, I'm sure you know when you've won. Yeah, he's geeing up the crowd there. Can either of these fellas get that fifth stone? Terry's slowed right down. Glen is he's trying to pretend it's not there, isn't he? He doesn't want to know.
No, I think Glen is waiting to see what Terry's going to do.
It's about pride. It's not about winning the event. It's about pride. Can you beat your opponent and beat that fifth stone? Glen doesn't look like there's anything left in his tank. Terry wants it badly, but I think he's finished as well. And that's it. Well, the faster time from Terry Hollands. And good applause. It's all been a bit too much for some spectators. I think all the fellas that have been competing in this year's Strongman feel exactly like that young man. And there's the Who's Your Daddy from the winner. Glen Ross has done it again. And there's confirmation of the 2006 UK Strongest Man final leaderboard. Glen Ross on top, 36, 6 points ahead of his nearest rival, Terry Hollands. But what a battle those two had, right down to the wire. Let's hear now from our champion and this year's runner-up.
Yeah, good through the heats. It's not such a good final day, but yeah, I mean, I'm not overly disappointed with second place. It's still a good achievement. Like I said, I performed well through the heats. Final day just let me down a little bit, but I'll be back next year bigger and stronger.
And what's next for you in strongman competitions?
I'm off to Worlds next week. Hopefully I'll perform well out there, make the final this year, and rest up and get ready for next year.
Congratulations, Glen. First place. Is the daddy back?
Definitely. 12 months ago, I snapped my patella, and I just thank the good Lord for making it possible to be back here today. And I'm back, UK Strongest Man, you know, and I did this for my son and my daughter, just to let them know that I'm their daddy, and the daddy's back.
It must be satisfying winning back your title at home and bringing it back home to Northern Ireland. Yeah,
it's great to be hosted in Belfast again, and you know, the whole of Ireland, Northern Ireland's all steeped in Celtic warrior history, and I'm a true warrior. I really do feel I am. To come back with a broken leg and come back and take the title again is just an unbelievable feat against such a lineup of guys like Terry Hollands, Jimmy Marku, Dale Norris, just to name a couple. Unbelievable.
And what's next for you in strongman events?
Well, I just want to go on now and achieve a couple of big European titles that I won in 2004. I want to get back and win that, and then go on to greater and better things.
Congratulations, Glen.
Thank you.
So it's all over for another year, just the presentations remaining. Simon Morton, a creditable 8th place just to make this final 8. A magnificent achievement. Dave Mear taking 7th. They were the also-rans in this final, but every one of these 8 men a real winner, including Mark Lawson, who took 6th place. Dale Norris, what a future this young man has got as well, in 5th.
So in 4th place,
4th, Simon Flint. And then the final 3, Jimmy Marku, who won a lot of friends here in Northern Ireland and definitely is a man with a big future in this sport. But in the end, it was a 2-horse race, as well as Jimmy did to come 3rd. He was a long way back from Terry Hollands, who pushed our champion all the way. No question who this year's winner is. It's the big man, Glen Ross. That wraps up our action from Northern Ireland. Hope you've enjoyed it. Until next year, we'll see you again. Bye-bye.